She agreed. But after the procedure, she went home, collapsed into her husband Mark's arms, and sobbed, "My sister killed our baby. He looked just like me, he could have been a star." That very same day, I discovered I was pregnant. When Mark found out, his grief turned into rage. Enraged and intoxicated, he stormed into my house. "Why does your child get to live while mine had to die?" He spat, his voice venomous. Before I could react, he shoved me down the stairs. Pain exploded through my abdomen. Blood pooled beneath me. As my vision blurred, I saw Anna running toward me. "Sis, how careless of you to fall," she murmured, not in concern but in cold calculation. She was more worried about covering for Mark than saving my life. I died that night. Then, I woke up. It was the day of Anna's ultrasound again. This time, when she looked at me with teary eyes, seeking advice, I smiled and said, "Why are you asking me? Ask your husband." She blinked, startled. "But you're the doctor, not Mark," she stammered. Oh, so now she remembered I was the doctor? In my past life, I had warned Anna that bird head syndrome had a high chance of being inherited. She ignored me. Now, history was repeating itself. When she found out she was pregnant, she panicked. "Am I just super fertile? You'll help me, right?" Her mind was already made up, and there was little I could do except remind her to keep up with her checkups. But when the results came back, things looked grim. Anna's amniocentesis showed a large homozygous region on chromosome 8. The ultrasound revealed the fetus had identical features to Anna, features she saw as unique. She clutched my hand excitedly. "Sis, he looks just like me, a mini-me. Do you think he might become an actor? Maybe he'll make a fortune." I was speechless. I carefully explained that her baby had facial deformities and possibly other developmental issues. I even reached out to my medical contacts to get a top genetic specialist involved. The professor recommended that Anna and Mark undergo whole exome sequencing to confirm the diagnosis. But Mark scoffed. "More tests? First, non-invasive tests cost $2,000, then amniocentesis was $8,000, and now you want another $10,000 test? Doctors must be getting kickbacks from these things, like vampires sucking money from people." Before the professor could respond, Mark stormed out. The next day, Anna came back to me in tears. I sighed. "Bring your husband, we need the full genetic screening, otherwise, it's termination." Anna hesitated. "But the baby is 6 months old. I can feel him move. I don't think I can do it." I maintained a professional stance. Then be prepared for the challenges ahead. Eventually, she agreed to the abortion. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. After the procedure, Anna's regret consumed her. She ran home to Mark, sobbing. "My sister killed our baby. He looked just like me. Maybe he could have been an actor." Mark lost it. While my husband was away on a business trip, Mark forced his way into my house, drunk and furious. "Why did you kill my child?" he roared. He wrecked my living room. I tried to escape to call the police, but he saw me clutching my barely noticeable baby bump. His eyes darkened. "You're pregnant?" His voice dripped with hatred. "Why does your child get to live while mine had to die?" Before I could react, he charged at me like a crazed bull. I tried to fight back, but a sudden cramp in my leg made me falter. In that split second of weakness, he shoved me down the stairs. Pain exploded through my body. Blood gushed from my thigh. My abdomen burned like fire. As my consciousness faded, I heard a faint cry. Was it my baby? Then, I saw Anna rushing toward me. But instead of screaming for help, she said, "Sis, how careless of you to fall." Her first thought wasn't to save me, it was to protect Mark. As my vision went black, my last thought was, if I had another chance, I'd stay far away from their mess. They can do whatever they want, but leave me out of it. My twin sister, Anna, was pregnant when she received devastating news. Her baby had been diagnosed with a rare genetic disorder, bird head syndrome. As her physician, I advised her to terminate the pregnancy. Fate gave me that chance. This time, when Anna discussed her ultrasound with Mark, history repeated itself. Mark scoffed at the doctor's concerns. "Back in my mom's time, no one got ultrasounds, and we turned out fine. Those machines probably damaged the baby anyway. Hospitals just want to scam you into expensive tests." When Anna repeated this to me, I nearly burst out laughing. Anna used to boast about Mark's college education, as if it made him my intellectual equal. But tell me, what kind of educated man says something so ridiculous? I avoided their next appointment, knowing it would be a disaster. Sure enough, Mark caused chaos. What do you mean our child has facial deformities, low intelligence, and slow growth? He shouted at the doctor. Anna pouted. The baby just has a unique look, a natural actor's face. How dare you call it a deformity? The geneticist tried to explain. Even if we ignore the facial features, your baby's developmental indicators are delayed. That's a sign of a serious condition. Mark shrugged. He's just small. We'll feed him up. The doctor urged them to get a full genome test, but Mark and Anna's faces darkened. The argument escalated. Security had to intervene. I was grateful I hadn't been there. After all, last time, it cost me my life. Months later, Anna gave birth to a baby boy. Though full term, he was shockingly underweight, barely 3 kilograms. His face was scrunched and unnatural, far from the typical cuteness of newborns. Even the nurses hesitated before congratulating them. Mark dismissed their concerns. It's just because Anna had a rough pregnancy. He's fine. But he wasn't. Anna wanted to breastfeed, but she had no milk. They switched to formula only to discover their son was allergic to regular formula. He required a special, costly one. Anna hadn't worked in months. Mark's repair shop salary barely covered expenses, and half of it now went to baby formula. Desperate, Anna tried to dump the baby on my mother so she could return to work. But my mom refused. Your sister is pregnant too. I'm busy helping her. Anna was furious. She confronted me. Molly, you're so selfish. You can afford a nanny. Why are you taking mom away from me? I sneered. I pay mom a salary, $8,000 a month. After I give birth, it'll go up to $10,000. If you can pay more, I'm sure she'll help you instead. Anna turned red with rage. As my older sister, isn't it your duty to help me? I laughed. Your hardship is not my responsibility. I earn my money through hard work, as does my husband. Besides, didn't Mark say he'd divorce you and raise the baby alone? Maybe you should remind him of that. Anna exploded in fury, screaming curses at me, curses so vile, they extended to my unborn child. That was the last straw. I slapped her across the face and had security escort her out. This time, I lived my life free of their chaos, and when I gave birth to my daughter, I held her close, knowing this was the future I was meant to have.